Hey there!
I'm Sunny.
I'm Skylar.
And together,
We're Crushcast, aka the Vixens of Crush Publications.
Join us today for another fun time with Crush.
Hey there, best-selling authors Skylar Quinn and Sunny A. Morgan here to come together to discuss the joys of erotica in literature. Today's topic, we're going to be discussing our Big Bad Wolf anthologies.
And today's sponsor is our Big Bad Wolf Anthology Volume 2 with Leonora, Skylar, Sunny, Alexander, Marty, and Logan all submitting stories for this it's a thick anthology.
It's a very thick anthology.
It is a very thick, so yay.
Yeah. And Sunny, what kind of new releases do you have going on right now?
Well, on the 18th, we all have Big Bad Wolf Volume 2 coming out. And yeah, well, it already came out when this airs. So
well, yeah.
yes. And then on the 25th, I have My Husband's Best Friend Halloween edition coming out.
Nice.
How about you?
Well, in addition to the 18th, on the 15th, I had my Orc for Halloween. I'm very excited about that one. I really love that story. And then on the next Friday, I have my second intern's book, The Corvette. It's one of my Kindle Unlimited editions, and I really loved that short story. It's a fun little age gap erotica.
Fun.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on for us.
Exactly. We do have a lot going on. Which is exciting.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. If we think about like our goals and how we're checking them off one at a time.
One by one. And we only have one left for this year's goal.
I know, which is amazing. So because
we should plug it, I guess.
Goals. We have some hefty goals. So
and I'm really proud of us. Like, we made the list, we checked it twice, and we've marked everything off. And we've stayed profitable. We've stayed on time for the most part. Like, it's been great.
Yeah. So
this anthology project, though, gave me a little bit of anxiety because it wasn't just us. It was the collective,
Yeah.
And so we still managed to somehow come out on top, and everybody met the eventual deadlines, and we got our releases as they were supposed to. Which is phenomenal.
Yeah, because there's so many people. Because there was 5 of us in the first one, and this one there are 6. So, and there's only 3 that carried over into both books. So it's, these different people trying to get everybody on the same page is not always easy. But it was, they were all great. Getting everything
and what
done.
surprised me is everybody's willingness to participate. But also everybody's willingness to stay within the boundaries that we had and that what we wanted without a lot of pushback. And it was, you kind of worry about projects with people that you're not best friends with. And, some of the people were loosely associated with and others were close with. So I'm very proud of what Crush has been able to put together and put out. And I'm glad we're able to do something to help the conservatory. Do you want to talk about the charity that all the proceeds go to?
Yes, we chose the Wolf Conservatory Center in New York City. And it kind of, obviously goes with our theme of the Big Bad Wolf on there. And it's a charity that I have supported for years in the past. So I just felt a connection to it. And when we chose this topic for our anthology and we were wanting to look for a charity, I felt like that just fits perfectly with what we were going for our theme. So.
Well, and I love wolves. I've always been a wolf girl. And so I was like, yes, let's do that. But I like what our theme was because it wasn't a big box. It was a loose topic, and everybody could take that however they wanted. And so we were thinking different things like a Wolf of Wall Street, werewolves, like maybe a biker group named Wolf. We just, whatever anybody wanted. And so I just love that everybody took a different direction. And so in the, 11 stories, none of them are the same.
No, they're not.
which I love. I
Yeah,
love.
they're not at all. I know that you and I and Leonora, we were in both books, and we have continued our story from book one into book two.
Yeah, we
They're
definitely made a
complete
series out of them.
stories. Yeah, they're complete stories in each book, but we just continued that world
And we'll
into the
continue it
next.
next year too, which is great. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that we did this, and it kind of took me back to our roots of the paranormal aspect, which I absolutely loved writing, and such joy in writing these characters that
yeah.
I just don't have in the straight erotica niches because
Right.
you don't get I don't get attached to those different characters because they come and go in and out. And then
Yeah,
this, like, there was personality, there was growth, there was plot, there was hot
right.
sex, there was build up. It had everything, and I loved the characters. And as I was
Yeah,
writing book two, book three came to mind. And it's been so long since I've had that feeling before as Skylar the writer. And
right.
so I
Yeah,
love that. I felt rejuvenated as I did this project. I don't know about
yeah.
you.
No, I did too. And I didn't. I know you went back to like a paranormal kind of, and that's what,
Yeah.
and we both love that world. We love that genre. But this one I did it's not paranormal. I did a spin-off of My Sanctuary Security. There is a motorcycle club that is connected to the Sanctuary world. So I used those characters because they're a little more gritty. And the first book, one of them is actually named Wolf, and it is joked that he is the big bad wolf because he's grumpy
That
and
seems
not the
appropriate
nice.
since you picked the title.
Yes, so he's not so nice. But he, so I liked that the world continued, and as I was writing, I always had in my mind what book three would be. Book two was a little harder for me to write. I don't know, it just was, but
You went through a
um,
couple editions, didn't you?
I did go through a couple auditions for it. But I'm happy with what it is. It's an age gap, second chance, grumpy old man. Uh, and but he's in that biker world, and so I like that in this world I can have more character development than
Yeah,
with like when you do straight erotica, it's a little harder to have the character development.
because you're reading it for different enjoyment. Like
Right,
we
you
read
are.
paranormal for that paranormal enjoyment, right? Or we
Yeah,
read the longer series, this the spicy, darker romance for that
yeah.
development. You read erotica for what it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly. And while I love writing both, it was nice
exactly.
to have that little bit of character building with
I like that
them.
the challenge wasn't how am I going to get this peg to fit into this hole, and the
Right.
challenge was more of like how am I going to take this kidnapping and find a killer for it and track them, and it's like it
Right.
used a different part of my brain, and
Yeah.
that's what I loved.
Yeah, exactly. And it was how I was going to take her like past that was, not the greatest
Right.
and make her have a happy ending with this person who was not the greatest to her, but
So what's your
so.
first story called in book one?
It is reclaiming Scarlet is the first one, and then the second one's claiming Savannah.
So I think that's kind of funny. Yours, like the reclaiming Scarlet, implies there was claim before, right?
There
And
was.
in my first one, it is running from you, and it's a second chance romance. And since
Mhm.
we didn't coordinate at all, I think it's funny we both did something kind of similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it goes to suit with like every we're finishing each other's sentences, so of course we would kind of pick the same path. But I just think that was funny.
That is,
That
yeah, it is. And I love second chance. I've been doing that
I
a
do
lot
too.
lately, and
I
I
do
I
too.
never really did that before, but this past year I've been really drawn to doing that because like Sanctuary Security, like all of the stories in there, they're all second chance. In some way or some way, shape or form, they're all second chance.
Do
And
you read a lot of second chance?
I used to, I haven't in a while. Um, but yeah, I do like second chance stories because I like that it's not always easy and because it's not. And we all mess up. And
It
to
feels more
have that,
realistic. to
Yeah,
have that happy ever after because there was true conflict ahead of time.
right. Yeah. And because you're not always ready for
You're
that
not. You're too
lifetime
young.
commitment. Yeah, you could be, it could be very great while you're young or what you're doing, but things get in the way and kind of mess with you. And so,
Life.
like, it's right. And so it's nice to like write stories that are not always just, I meet you, you're gonna save me, or whatever it
Instant
is.
love. Yeah.
Yeah, instant love, instant love. That there's a little bit of push and pull with it. There's some anger. Um, and that's what I kind of continued with these two, um, with the Skull Kings, which is the motorcycle club's name.
What a feisty
So
name.
yeah, well, they are. They're kind of it's a good group of guys, but they were, I mean, they're outlaw bikers and they're
Yeah.
trying to clean that up. So it's kind of like the struggle of the club trying to clean it up. But it's more focused on the relationships than the actual club.
I like when I write the paranormal because as much as I love to read it, I always like to add like my own little spins on the tropes. And so
Yeah,
I always enjoy that challenge of how are my wolves going to be different than the other mainstream wolves? Or what am I going to do
right.
differently? Or am I going to stick with the generic and
Yeah,
let it go? And so I always enjoy those little aspects. And I like that you can kind of throw in other mythical creatures at the same time. Like book two
yeah,
has a witch. I don't have to explain witches. I don't have to go into the covens. I don't have to do all that, but they enlisted a witch to help. And so I like that
yeah,
you can pick and choose different parts of that world and wrap it all into a little bow. And I just love how they all go together. And there's just
yeah,
something to me as a reader that having that vastness that you can pick from that I enjoy because that I think always adds that extra kick that separates those authors. And so I love that. And I just think
yeah.
that writing this was fun. I look forward to starting, book 3 with Seth, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I just know that this brother, like I really found enjoyment in his small little bits of book 2. I was like, I think he needs more. And so I love that now I have something to think about when I'm laying in bed at night and I can come up with
Yeah.
ideas to start.
Yeah.
And
And I love that too. And I like because in the third book it's going to be Mountain and
I
he was
love
in the
your names.
sanctuary. I know. Well, they're
I love your
bikers.
names.
They're bikers. So
I love your names.
and so he's going to be, and actually I do have a friend named Mountain,
Of
which
course you
is
do.
just which is kind of funny.
Is Mountain
But
the inspiration for Mountain?
no, no.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's funny because that mountain is little and this mountain is huge. Like my book mountain is huge, but the friend that I have, he's small, which it's like it's funny but it's his real name. Like that's what he was named at birth, so it's not a
Oh my
nickname.
gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so guess they were just hoping some height would grow on.
Hoping.
But yeah. So yeah, he was in Sanctuary Security the last in Zeus's book, and that's what kind of brought them in. And he's been in the last 2 books too, so he needs his own book. He's
Well,
just
I
a
also love that Leonora just coincidentally did this too.
yeah,
And that it works out so well. And I think that's such a beautiful blend of the two
yeah,
anthologies. And I think readers will enjoy that because while they're different stories, they have something to look forward to.
yeah,
And I think that's beautiful, like a beautiful marriage of written
yeah,
words. And then
yeah,
Logan's contribution to book 2, that's like 26,000 words. It's like half of the book. Logan's is a continuation of his fairy tale retelling. And so
right.
I just love that people were able to
Build
do that,
worlds from them. Yeah,
build worlds.
yeah. I do too.
And
I love that too.
and
And I
his is
love that we have
literally the big bad wolf from the fairy tales, is what his is off of,
yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. Allison and
Wonderland. He's
no,
in
it's
Alice in
the
Wonderland.
Red Riding Hood. Because his is named
Yeah,
Ride.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
But yeah.
but I think it's great.
Well, because he has that whole series
Yeah.
of the retellings that he's doing. So I love that he's able to do that and kind of keep it
Is
all in
it?
the same
Now I
world.
can't think. Now, is his favorite? I'm gonna have to look.
Well, her name's, I think, is Scarlet in the story. Her name is Scarlet too
Yeah, I just
in the
can't
story.
remember. I mean, we've read
But
so
they're
many
all in his
things.
same world
Right, they're
too.
all in the fairy tale world.
Yeah. But yeah. He has, I mean, because he has
No,
like
I
each
think his is
section is
Alice in
titled.
Wonderland. I think his is Alice
Well,
in
that's what
Wonderland.
his world, because that's the strip club that they're like, it's Wonderland.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, but like he has titles for each one, like a walk in the woods and a like
You
for
just have
each
that
part.
memorized?
Huh?
Like, you just have that memorized, his title? I'm literally looking at the Walk in the Woods. Your brain
Well,
amazes me.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't have all, I mean, I have some of it, but like, yeah, I mean, there's certain things that like stood out. And I mean, he always draws me in when I read his books anyway. So
I know, I love his stuff.
yeah. Oh,
I love it. And then, I wish Marty would have done the other Wolf series he had started, the Blood Moon one, that where it
yeah.
was a woman's period, but instead he did a whole
Yeah.
new thing. But I was hoping
Yeah.
he was going to do that one. But we just had so much fun with all of these, and I love that the first one, was all women,
Hmm.
because it was Vivian, Missy, you, me, and Leonora. So I
Yeah.
love that we had our little girl book, and then we had our
Yeah.
guy friends join us. Like, I think it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I'm
So
excited for this one. So, and I'm just excited about it in general, and I'm excited to write the third one.
we have
And then
like
I
half
want
of
to
it already
like,
written, probably.
I do, but that doesn't mean I'll finish on time. But
We have a long deadline for that one. It's like
yeah,
April 30th.
yeah. But I want to start writing more paranormal. But I really want to kind of get it into more of the erotic genre though too. So I'm trying to like how I'm gonna work that out.
Is there a paranormal erotic niche?
There is, I mean, there's some erotic short stories that are paranormal like themed. Um, a lot of demon ones.
I
Um,
love a good demon.
I do too. There's this one, I'll have to find it because I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was like so good because it was like literally this demon was coming back and like she thought she was like hallucinating and imagining him and he was kind of like he would be in her dreams and then he just kind of took over her whole life. And but it
Kind of
was like he
scary.
made it, but he made it better in his own way. Like it's just it was really I don't know. I'll have to find it. There's a that one was the best one, but there's a bunch of them that were in it. Because they have all these different demons. And then they have, of course, Satan that they all like are answering to, and he has one at the very end. But the first one I think was the best. I'll have to
That
find it.
sounds fun.
I can't
I
remember
think
the
that's
name of it.
why I enjoyed the orc story too, because it came back to that paranormal had witches
Yeah.
in it. It just like you could do those things and not have to explain it. I think that's why I like that. I love that you don't have to have the whys. It just
Yeah.
is.
Well, yeah, because like I mean, depending on how you build the world, but with paranormal, you know, it would definitely make my multiple people easier because we all just know where things are going to go. We all have this
Right?
telepath thing and this magic that we can just make it work. We don't have to
We're
actually
all
like
linked together.
right. So there's not like this describing how like it can just happen.
There's not
Um
too many cocks in the storyline.
right. Or like if it becomes too much because, you know, her mouth is full, she can't really talk, she could just telepathically tell you, calm it
I'm
down.
telepathically saying, "Stop!
Yeah,
Enough!
we need to push away now.
One of you needs to eject."
Exactly. When it's a little overwhelmed, she may not be able to really communicate, but you know, if she's
But that's a
like
good point.
a vampire or something like it's just it's easier to um I even feel like fight scenes or different kind of like scenes are easier when there's like that paranormal aspect of it because you always have like this part where a human can't do it, but a vampire can.
Makes it more
And
believable.
right. So, and you want that, like, because I know there's times when I've written scenes and I'm just, because fight scenes are not like my favorite thing
I
to
know.
write, but yeah, you know,
I
and,
know.
but I like the fact when I'm doing it with people who have supernatural things because, like, in Blood Myth, there was a lot of fight scenes, and especially the first one. And so, like, there was a lot of communication that they had to do because there was a bunch of people. And I like that they can just do that telepathically. It would just make things so much easier if we
If we could
don't
just do
just do
that in real life.
that. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it makes it easier in some aspects, but then there's like the world building that complicates it.
I kind of think the whole idea of a short story erotica with paranormal, like that could be a lot of fun. You could build a world in 5,000 word increments, and
That's
that could
true.
be a fun little project.
That's true. You could do that.
I
Yeah.
mean, sure there's an audience for it somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's also the hard part is we have all these different like wants and desires as our own author, but we've established reader bases. So it's just like you don't want to
Right.
piss off your current readers, but
Yeah,
you
I mean,
also
you
want to
still
like
need
dabble
to,
in this other stuff.
right. You still need to feed the people who have been supporting you all along.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's kind of
Exactly.
where that 80/20 comes in. So, that
Yeah.
we always talk about, but um, the 20% of doing what we love
Right.
and 80% doing what I love, but
Right.
I can kind
But
of get
differently.
tired of. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
because you're
not
doing
it
it most
doesn't,
of the
yes.
time. And
And it's
so,
just
like,
kind
it,
of the same motions. You got the not the cookie cutter, but cookie cutter where like what you need to develop that story. Because
right,
like I don't know for you, but in each of my series, like I know my cheating husbands, they're gonna be no more than 4,000 words. I know my hot wives are gonna be 5 to 7,000 words. Like I know my Kindle Unlimiteds are gonna be 3 to 6,000 because I have processes for each series. And
yeah.
so the guesswork is kind of taken out of it where all I have to figure out is names. I hate names. You are always so much better at naming than me. I hate
I
naming.
love names. I love
I
coming
hate
up with
them.
names. It
If
becomes
everybody
hard
could have the
though.
same name, I would be happy.
It becomes difficult though when you're doing it all the time. And that's why I like paranormal too, because I can have these off the wall names and
Mm-hmm.
it's completely fine and it's much
Right.
easier. But when you're writing like contemporary or regular erotic, it's hard. And that's why like names get used of people in your life and people come back and think you're
Accidentally.
talk right accidentally, but they think you're writing about them and you're not. But it's just because you don't think about it because you just want an ordinary name.
Well, and you naturally pair the names,
You
you know?
do. You do because it's just and it's all done like subconsciously. You don't really think about it. Because we know I had the issue and with the name.
Right.
And
That you
I
didn't
did
even
not
believe you had.
I did not believe I had it. I was so like, I did not do that. And then I found it and was like, shit, I did do this. But that's why I'm saying like it was not like these people, you know?
Right.
So it's just their names that like
It
millions of people share and
it's
you don't think
funny when
about
that
it.
happens. Like
Yeah.
when I was writing the orc book, I originally wrote the names with Laura and I's actual names because I used our
Hmm.
backstory, right? And I was like, when I hear Laura, I think of Will. I don't know why, I just did it. I'm halfway through before I changed the names. That was her dog's name.
Yeah. I mean, there's
I
lots of
was just
things
like,
like I mean, I
I
use
totally
Jackson a
forgot.
lot in names and like a lot of names because I think it's a strong name, but it's my brother's middle name. It's my dad's like middle name. It's my grandfather's
And you're
first name.
definitely not writing
And
about
I am not
them.
writing about these people because I don't think about that until like somebody brings up something and then I start to like question all of the names I've ever chosen in my life.
Right.
And but like I'm not, they're just names. I think it's because I see that name in a lot of different things and I think it's a pretty strong name, especially
It
for like this
is. Yeah.
billionaire like office like boss kind of
Right.
executive. So that's, but yeah, it's just funny because then when I start to think about it, I'm like, oh crap, well, like this is this person's name and this is this person's name. So
I mean, you got to
names are
think
names.
with as many different adventures you and I have had in the course of our lives, right? We have come across somebody with all of these names.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
eventually you're gonna
I
recruit.
use them and so the thing is like I just use it as a name and don't think about it. I just try to like I don't really think about it if in my contemporary and it needs to be just like an average ordinary name. I don't think about it. But if it is a paranormal name, I try to look for like meaning and um like I did with like all of my blood myth, I like would research names and try to find meanings for the names. And the same with like with Sakim's Revenge, like when we were looking up names and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's different when you're writing something that's paranormal and writing something that is everyday person to come up with their names. And
So in my blood series, and I can't remember if he's introduced in book two or just three, but Nicole's like childhood friend's name is Mehmet. And I picked that name because my childhood best friend Kieran's middle name was that. Because I just like, and I picked bits and pieces of his personality to put into it, but it's not like any of the interactions he and I actually had, right? And the other day he told me he wanted to read the series, want to read all of it. And I was like, okay, sure. And I got to thinking because I remembered a scene that I had wrote. I was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't mail him the book because he's gonna think
yeah,
because I mean he's gonna know that's his middle name, right? And I was just
right.
like, and he's gonna know that's my middle name, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I just like the name because they're Arab, right? And he's Arab
Yeah.
and the whole thing, and so names can be a problem. They can get you into trouble.
They can and but the thing is like with me, if I'm writing about you, I am never using your name.
Agree,
I am not using your name. If I am
agree.
writing about you, if I'm basing a character on you or inspired, not based on you, inspired by you, I am not using your name because I'm thinking about it at that point in time that this is, I'm inspired by this person in my life or this person that I know. So I'm never going to use their name with that.
Exactly,
If I've used your
exactly.
name, that character is not you.
It's a good
If I've used,
indication.
yeah, if I've used your name that just happens that you share with this character and like with millions of other people, it is not about you. Just isn't.
I
But
think
yeah,
it's funny that people think that it is.
yeah.
Now, I will say in the other form of writing, I did use my boss's name and I did kill him from a rafter, and it was very cathartic.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done anything like that. Now, like
Long
with
live Roman or
yeah,
Ramon.
yeah, I've never done anything like that where um it's been now I've used like my witches series, it's inspired by my childhood friends and it
Right.
was
But
inspired
you didn't use their
inspired.
names.
No, I didn't at all. And it was
Exactly.
just it was inspired by the like relationship between the three of us. Like these characters were not them
Right.
and it was just inspired by the relationship of making them all sisters and this closeness that they
I
shared.
think that helps us write. Like when I was writing this orc story using Laura and I's background, it was very easy to write because I didn't have to come up with the story. I just kind of wrote our story and wrote,
Yeah,
and I started to like mix the personalities together because we're similar, but we're also very different. And it flowed so naturally. But again, not using the names because the names were weird. Using her name and my name when I was writing it made it weird. I don't
right.
think I could write a story about somebody using that name because then
Yeah,
I mean, while we're thinking about him, it just became too real. And
yeah,
I couldn't do that.
right. But you've used Laura in other things, or and not
I've used the
her,
name.
the
Right.
name, yes, and
Right.
it's not her. And
Exactly.
I think that's where sometimes people in your life get confused, is that they think just because they share this name that you're this character or they're that character, and that's no. I mean, um, not even
No.
remotely. Uh, not even close. Um, because I mean, it's a liability, first of all. and it's awkward.
Right?
So I just don't think about it. Lots of times, like, because we write so much,
I mean, we have a new book
so
every
much.
week.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, I can't just keep using, I love the name Jake. I can't use that every time I'm talking about a man. His name can't be Jake. I mean, I
I mean,
just
I wrote
like,
4 stories with the same name. I didn't even realize I did it just because I liked the names.
and
So I
I've
had
done
to go
that too.
back and
I've
change
had,
all of them.
yeah, I mean, I've had Jake in a lot of stories. And,
I
but
love the name Jake.
yeah, and I've had him because it just, to me, in my like head, Jake is just this rugged man, and he's just like, I have this vision of him. I use that name in so many different stories, and I've had to stop because I'm like, Jesus, this is like my go-to name. So I have to stop doing this. But you have so many, like, we have so many stories that it's hard to
It's hard.
come up with new names. And sometimes you just want a normal, ordinary name. And
Well, and I mean, you think about it, like when I graduated 8th grade, there were 17 of my exact first and middle names in
yeah,
8th grade. I mean, it's ridiculously common. I mean, the stuff's ridiculously common. And
yeah,
so, and it's not like you meet a lot of people with unique and individualized names.
right.
So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, and like some of the names that I've used, they're names that you're going to see everywhere. And like my name was not always one that was very common in school.
Really?
No, there was like, and not that I think it's abnormal, but um, there was like a boy named Stacy, and then there was, I think, one other girl when I got older. But like normally I was the only Stacy. There wasn't multiple um Stacys. And I know
God,
I've said my name a million times that I wasn't supposed to,
there's
but
like a
that's okay.
million Ashleys. So
I know.
we're just rolling with it
It's
now.
yeah, just like whatever at this point. Uh,
Now, I have used your middle name when I am writing a character inspired by you, but not your first name. But
and I've used your middle name too when
I
I've
haven't done
written.
that as Skylar
Yeah,
because none of
and
these
I've not
stories are
done it
inspired
as
by you.
I've not. God, no, I hope not. I've not done any with Sunny with your name either, but I have used your middle name and some of
But we
my
also
like
know about it ahead of time.
yeah, but it's just, because like I did it in Blood Myth
Right.
with
And I did it
Serena's
in Maverick.
sister. Yeah, and so I used your middle name for Serena's twin sister.
And she's
Um,
the best character. I always believe
she's
that.
something.
She's something.
Um, but and I did that specifically because like you did have a connection with Tanner character and you liked that character, and so like it was
I love that character.
right. So I mean I knew like that was a I felt like that just made sense, and and you had a character in one of your stories that was similar, so I mean I've changed the name a little bit. Like it's not your exact middle name, but
Right.
it's still
It
it's
works for your world.
well, yeah, because I had to kind of use like a
Right.
Romanian kind of theme to
Exactly.
it. But yeah.
Then I think
Um,
the other part too is we understand there's a difference between inspired by and then mirror image. And
right.
Laura gets it too, right? Like, if she knows as I use her name, but she don't care, right? But there's that difference.
And I think like people who write or who are creative or in that aspect, they're going to understand that, inspiration or names or people who just like I don't know, aren't so conceited that they think that it's about that everything's about them. I mean,
Talk about
sorry, but
open-minded individuals.
yeah, I mean, because like honestly, like sometimes you just don't think about it. And but I think if you're writing, then if you're a writer, that you're just using names. And
Right. Now, I won't
and
use like my kids' names or, my husband's name, because then I don't think I could separate. And I wouldn't use my brother's names either, because I think I wouldn't be able to separate.
Yeah.
But I think immediate family is a little different than just like every other name out
I mean,
there.
I guess, I don't know, like I've used my brother's name and never really, because I like his full name,
Right.
not his nickname, and because I just never really, I don't think about it because it's a name. I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about these things. It's just a name. Um, it's so I don't know. I just don't really think about that stuff. I've used your
And
husband's name, and the character is not about your husband.
that's fine.
I'm just saying. I mean, I don't even remember what story, but I know I've used it
He'll
at
be
some
glad
point
to
in
know his
time.
name is somewhere in our world.
But I mean, it's never like I don't. It's not Tony's description. It's not like yeah. So
But like when I think about like the Blood series, I mean, every character in that series was inspired by somebody in my real life for the most part. I mean, whether it was me or, my parents or my brothers. And I think like, I mean, I didn't use their names. I did use my middle name, right? But I I don't think if I had used their name, I would have been able to write those characters as well as I did, because I
yeah,
would have been too concerned with connecting the dots, right?
right.
And it's funny, like now I think back on how like Blood Purple ended and Blood Yellow began, and how I kind of wrote my brother and how that's kind of how he's acting now. And I wrote it, over a decade ago.
Yeah.
And, it's just like you look back on things and the accuracy you get, I think, by not using the name of the person you're thinking about is better,
Yeah.
because they're not going to read it and think like, oh, you're talking about me.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Um, I just I don't if I'm writing about you, I'm not using your name. And that's just my general rule of thumb. I find. So if you see your name in something, it is not about you.
Now, I do have a couple stories with Sunny and Skylar where it's like
Yeah, I
us,
mean, because
but
we've done that. Like we've
right,
written them and so but still like we're not those characters.
exactly. We aren't doing these things in
So
real
it's
life.
right, right. And we're not writing out our fantasies.
I
And
do not
so,
fantasize about you. I'm sorry.
right, exactly. So, I mean, they're just stories, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if it's like something that's really real or it's coming from my life or
Yeah, nothing
I
identifiable.
am not using your name, I'm not using
No.
that person's name at all. And so, like, if you happen to see your name, then that's just what it is. I mean, it's just a coincidence because you share a
Yep.
name with millions of people.
I always
And
think I need to get one of those baby naming books. And then Laura, bless her, she'll send me these TikToks. Here's great names for you to use, and I never remember them. She's
I
probably sent me
saved a
100 names, and I can't remember any of them because they're not normal names. They're
right,
like
and I
unique,
saved
random
like some
names.
on TikTok. I follow a couple different like name things on TikTok and save them. And I like the names that have come across, but I'm like, this is Joe Schmo down the street. He's not like he's not going to be an
You're gonna waste this
Oakley.
great name.
Right. He's not going to be an Oakley or, like it doesn't because I tried and one I was using these names and I'm like it doesn't fit. Like this person that is like, a mechanic or he's like it just doesn't fit. And so it doesn't I don't know. So it's hard.
It's
It's
very hard.
easy for me to come up with names for paranormal and like that, but everyday
You know who
names,
comes up with some crazy names that fit the stories is Alexander.
yeah.
He has some names in
He's
his book.
very creative
His
in
book, what was
general.
his name? I mean, yeah, but he had some weird ass name, and I was just like, "Is this a typo?" I was like, "No, this is a legit one." I can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's a good name. He's good at naming
Yeah,
unique
yeah,
names.
right.
So,
I'm good at
but yeah,
unique names, but
well,
not
I
for
mean,
every
in
day.
everything, he does
Yeah,
unique names all the time.
yeah.
In so, anyways,
Right, but like he also like in his stories, I've seen like Logan's name or Marty's name, and he's not writing about them. It just happens to
no.
be in there. And like I've had an Alexander, it's not him. I
So
mean,
funny story in Marty's. His first chapter, he had a name. And it was the exact name of another hot wife author. I was like, you have to change it. You got to change the last name. You cannot use this. Like, you got to change it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
he's like, really? I was like, how do you not know this person?
Right. And I mean, like in Logan's story, he has a character Scarlet. Well, in my first one, there's a character Scarlet. They're not
the same.
They're just names.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know how we got on this name thing, but
well, but that's what the purpose of this is. Just conversation.
Right. I think it worked, but yeah, I mean, names are hard.
They're very hard.
They're hard, but yeah.
Yeah. But these anthologies were a lot of fun, and I look forward to what, like, next year, what we come up with. And I think the beauty of an anthology is readers can be exposed to the authors that they already love, and then new people, you know, and I mean, hopefully, you know, the books, they enjoy them as much as we did.
Yeah.
And
hopefully. Yeah.
So I definitely encourage you guys to read one if you haven't, but definitely pick up two. I mean, one was a lot of fun, but I think two was, which is better. Like I love the continuation of the stories. I love that. I think that's great.
I do
and
too.
Thick.
I mean,
they are both like super
They're both
thick.
really thick. Yeah, they are.
I mean, the first one has.
Oh, the second one is thicker, but
there's 305 in the first one, and 373 in the second one.
Yeah,
but we have 6 authors in the second one.
Yeah, we do.
Not just 5.
But they're both great. They go to a great cause. I mean,
absolutely, they're both the same price.
Right,
$5.99 ebooks.
Exactly. They are standalones. However, it is better if you read one for Skylar, Leonora, and my stories.
Yes. And then look at the spine. Look how great. Oh, I got those upside down.
Yeah.
Look how great they look. Like,
yeah.
You did, and Sunny did our covers because she's our cover guru. Crush would be nothing without her graphics.
But I love that they're just like barely different. Like there's a little bit of a tweak. It's the same couple.
They're great.
But it's
and then the backs look good. You know, I mean, we just have the titles, you know, but online is a different description.
Well, there's like a little rose in the corners.
Yes. I mean, it's
roses, so yeah.
I love that we did the matte because I love how it feels.
I love how the matte feel. I love
I love how they smell.
And I think it fits the darkness of like the anthology.
Yes.
The matte feel in the dark, the black. So
yes.
I love it. I think that they turned out great. And I love that we had so many authors like who were happy to do it.
Exactly. I mean, you gotta appreciate like what we've built and that people would want to trust us with their words, you know? And so, and we should note that these books aren't on sale forever. Each book is alive for 6 months.
Yes.
And so January 5th, book 1 comes off the market. And so November, April 18th, book 2 will come on. Yeah. So, because they're just 6-month runs. And then the authors can do what they want, you know,
with their story. Yeah.
You know, Sunny, Leonora, and I were going to put ours together with the book 3s, each of our book 3s that will come out next year. So, but everybody else will do their own thing with theirs.
Right. But, I mean, Logan is going to connect because he's
I'm sure because he has 3
retelling world. So, and maybe the other authors will do something with theirs as well, which would be great.
It would be great. And like you said, the cause is great because, I mean, animals need love too and protecting.
Well, we have to
the conservatories. I mean, the preserve is great.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah. I think we've kind of talked about names a lot. So,
we're gonna have to come up with a name for our book 3 together.
Yeah, we will. Yes, we'll have to come up with that. Now, titles are not my thing. No, that is not. No.
Titles are almost as bad as a name, because sometimes I want to name a title something. I was like, oh wait, that was like 7 books ago. I can't.
Yeah.
Like,
or there's like a bunch of other people who have a title
right?
that's like that. And so it's difficult because like even like when we were talking with Logan, because we're doing like the story with him that
Right.
we have written, naming it, I'm like, I don't know. I mean,
I hate titles.
I don't
And
know.
just because you have a title that somebody else has doesn't even mean you've read that book. Like,
No, because some titles are just so easy and similar, especially in like the genres that we write in. It
Yep.
becomes pretty easy because you want to stick with that genre, like a title. You
Yep.
don't want to come with something that's too crazy and people are like, what?
That's all part of the trope, all part of
Right.
what,
Yeah.
fits into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes words just go together.
Exactly. And you don't even realize it until like later you see
Someone
something
points
and
it
be
out.
like, yeah, like Jesus. Okay. But yeah.
Moving on. One more
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
the joys of writing erotica.
Right. And
Or
writing
writing in general.
because like a
See, look
lot
at
of
that.
titles are the same. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of titles that are out there that are the same and just
Well,
doesn't.
and that even goes down to like picking names, picking your pen names, or you're picking your real name and your real name being someone else already out there. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so difficult.
Yep. Just gotta add that A in for me. Because
For
this
everything.
name, Sunny, there's another Sunny Morgan out there. I didn't realize
There's
it when I like did the
other
search.
Skylar Quinns when you made this name. That's why
Yeah.
everything is Quinn Skylar for me.
Yeah.
Because there's already a
Yeah.
Skylar Quinn.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just is what it is. I mean, and we don't know.
You don't.
And yeah. So,
Well, this was a fun one. I
yeah,
didn't
it was
really
fun.
know where we were going to go with it all, but this was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I mean, we do that a lot though. So
Yeah, we do. We do. But that's good. I mean, that's
this
what
is
makes
very
them
much
fun,
more like
though.
our phone calls, I feel. Like how we just like go off into these tangents.
Yeah.
Less
Because we
planned.
didn't have a specific topic. We're just
Right.
like, we're just gonna wing it
Wing
today. And I liked
It's
it. It
what
was
it is.
good. Yeah,
Maybe we should wing more.
maybe.
It went by
Yeah.
fast. It felt like it went by fast. So
It did, because I did looking at the time, I'm like, wow, okay. So,
I thought this was going to be shorter, but I was wrong.
no.
So I hope you all enjoyed it too.
Yes, hopefully. Our explanation of names. But we can do our sponsor again was Big Bad Wolf Anthology 2, Volume 2. But you can still get Volume 1. They both go to the Wolf Conservation Center in New York City. The proceeds do. So go ahead and pick those up.
Yeah. And we will see you next time. Oh, don't forget you can subscribe and follow us online on our social media profiles under Crush Pub or Crush Publications and crushpublications.com.
Thank you for joining us today on Crushcast.
Be sure to follow us so you can catch our next episode in 2 weeks.
Thanks to our sponsor this week and to all of you for listening.
Peace, love, and crush on.